Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Unified Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier as wow, Golden Guardians coming in hot here in game number 1. Foot never leaving off the pedal. What a display by this team. Let's go ahead and start it off here. I'm going to actually start this off with 5-Fire. Big TF stand to start the night. Looks like you have another reason why you can continue to say how strong this champ is.
Well, no, yeah, I mean, this champion, it's literally getting nerfed next patch. Riot thinks it's OP, all right, guys? Come on, we got to be picking this thing up. Honestly, they had huge, some big cojones leaving up the Victor and the Corki and all these picks into it, but it's just because they were like, if we get TF, we don't care, we're going to be happy. And, this was a game that even it showed, they weren't making amazingly proactive plays with the TF. The TF was level 6, and the enemy was level 7. He was level 8. He got to level 9 before he even used his ultimate one time, right? But it didn't matter. That one time, that one mistake that they made, he made a big play, started getting a big lead, and really it just started to open up the whole map and snowball and snowball and snowball. This Twisted Fate pick is super strong. It needs to be respected, and you need to have a good answer for it, which I think the Victor was okay, but didn't really play into how Immortals wanted to play out that game.
Yeah, and we got to see some things play out, and it was actually a good start from IMT, right? They went for something that was wacky. Yet again, Winston makes us just go, wow, this guy will do anything to get that kill as he sees it dangling in front of him. We have a replay of actually how things started for IMT here. And you're a jungler. How does it feel to do something like this?
Yeah, so the pathing was a little bit weird from Winston to full clear his top side into Gromp, but it ends up working out just because he has a timer to sneak up into ball lane. As you can see here, they're playing the vision game absolutely flawlessly, as in this moment here, he sneaks up into the ball lane bush, and they're pretty aware that the enemy jungler could be bot side. You can see he sits in this bush for a total of 50 seconds, just so committed to this gank because this wave is slow pushing out. This is essentially a guaranteed gank. It has to work because of the wave state. And then they're just getting all real comfy, wait for that step up a little bit sooner, and the psychopathic pathing from Winston gets the free first blood onto Meech, which fully plays into their win condition. Honestly, it plays so well in character that they gain their first lead this way. It just ended up being a little bit tragic that they could never really turn that into something more.
Just Winston things, right?
Yeah.
That's when we grow this pet.
Yeah, but like Bacon said, it was a bit sad that they were never able to revisit, because one of the big deals for me in that play was Stixxay died while using both summoners, right? And so you think, oh, that's just the freest repeat gank of your life, but Stixxay just had a free game. Sure, he lost both summoners, he died, but he was right back in it. So maybe we'd like to see Immortals, really double down on their successful plays next game.
And talking about that, I can't help but chime in on this because there was somebody else who was making sure to put some respect on the names. Matt, you were hyping up Chime's Blitzcrank, and we got to see it on full display inside this game.
It's Chime time, baby. Watch this. We got the gold card into the rocket grab. That's so broken. That's a great interaction. We knew that Chime was this good at Blitzcrank. We've been watching him play it for weeks. We've been saying that he's been smurfing on it for weeks. And frankly, Travesty, I'm upset that he's this good at this champion and it wasn't banned away. I want to take this opportunity to look at the draft and just point out something that Immortals did, because if you'll notice right there in the Phase 2, they banned away Braum. And if you're going to be picking Lulu, Braum's not that bad. You should probably be banning away this Blitzcrank because Chime is so good at it. It's been proven that this is his counter matchup into a lot of the supports that people are picking against him. And we've known this for weeks, like I just said. So I'm really upset that Immortals made this mistake. I also, for what it's worth, don't think that the Renekton was worth a ban. I haven't been super impressed by Tony Top's Renekton, and I think this blind pick Gwen really ended up stifling a lot of what Anime Girl is really known to play. This Gragas is an option that he went for, but he's also been known for things like the Tahm Kench and the Mundo, which Gwen is a pretty nice time into. So I would have much rather they ban... Funny enough, the champions that Golden Guardians ended up picking, I know that's a little bit revisionist of me, but it is genuinely true. You can go back and watch the other streams. I've been hyping up this Blitzcrank for so long. So
it's true. Can confirm. It was on and off stream. Can confirm. I was a witness for it. And looking at how replays look here, talking about people who have been hyping up things, Fire, I'm going right back to you, buddy. This TF, yet again, Ryoma's playing with a full deck of cards here inside this game, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, so the TF pick, right, like we said, it wasn't making a ton of super proactive plays, but here, the enemy bot lane steps up too far one time, right? One time they want to get this wave in, instantly punished. We again get to see the gold card into hook combination from Ryoma and Chime, easy as pie. And then Meech, I mean, poor Meech is just stuck here. And you see, Shoji even tried to respond down here with the teleport and was close to getting a kill back. And then this little chase down happened. Actually, interesting interaction was Iconic's Spectral Maw got canceled by Chaos Storm because it cancels channels. So he got a bit lucky to get away with that. But I mean, this was really one of the big plays that blew open the game. And it's off the back of that TF, right? Even if you aren't able to make the super proactive plays, just having the threat of that ultimate of the Destiny Gate around the map does so much for your team, right? Like, we didn't even see it, but Winston was probably afraid to go top lane a lot of that game because 2v2ing TF Gwen as Gragas zins out doesn't sound very fun, right? And the pressure this champion puts out is just insane. There's a reason why I loved it so much last year, and when we had our blue side kingdom on Nord, we would first pick it every single game over and over and over. This champion does a lot, and when you give it to the hands of these really skilled players like Ryoma, you know, they're gonna make it work. So yeah, I can't really say that much more. Just pick TF, ban it, or have a counter ready. Like, you got to put some more respect on it. I know the Corki and the Victor are, you know, very flashy, these huge scalers, but TF does it all.
I mean, we got a full play of it here on the screen here, as it was just them running away with lead after lead, different advantages that they were able to pick off basically from that point forward. But there's a very interesting moment, and Vagin, you were looking at everything that was going on inside of this, and you've had some points talking about people doing too much, and it's causing them to throw their lead. And here we got a replay showing something interesting.
Absolutely. I'd say from the side of Golden Guardians here, they responded to this play really well. As you see, Immortals is pretty desperate at this stage because they're losing so much. As it turns out that our Golden Guardians actually overextends on this play, and they give up Tony top. But different from most teams, those teams would kind of opt in for a turn here. You can see Stixxay on the side with his ulti rim with a gold card. But it's really good reserved patience from Golden Guardians to just fully commit to disengaging. As we've seen with some other teams so far in this tournament, that they'll kind of opt in and overcommit to a play that is losing even though they have a lead, and that's how they actually end up throwing these leads. Instead of just getting one kill for a tier 2 and some sums traded, they actually end up coming out with a larger gold lead than they went in with. So for the side of Immortals, that puts even more pressure on them that the one play they did make didn't actually get them anything.
Now, we're going into game number 2 here. Bacon, Gragas. How are you feeling about Gragas?
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I'm getting you started.
Like from
a
draft perspective, you already see like a first pick blind pick Gwen, and you throw a reluctant Ben for some reason, which is weird because that's probably like one of the only matchups that's playable for him. It's just a lot of personal bias. As a resident Gragas expert, I think the champion is like a weak side top laner is fine in a vacuum, but versus most of the current top lane cast, you're kind of just giving them free lane phases to then be more useful than you. It feels really putrid to like run Grasp on a character that already has long early cooldowns and mana problems. So it just seems like everything that they picked. In a vacuum, sure, they wanted it to be weak side against a Gwen, but it feels like Immortals didn't actually draft against Golden Guardians this game. They kind of just drafted for their own team comp. They picked the Lulu knowing Blitzcrank was up. They let first pick TF go through, and then they picked Gragas against their team. And it just seemed like they weren't really fully paying attention to what Golden Guardians was looking to achieve. So the whole draft as a whole, they need to adapt for next game a hell of a lot better.
In a world where there is no TF available, Fire, what do you foresee going into this? Because I feel like that TF might have a little bit of a sting to it to when it's brought up in conversation.
Yeah, so with no TF, I'm still a bit scared, honestly, because like I was saying, the Corki was up, the Victor was up, right? Like, and the Victor did end up getting picked, but the Corki, you know, went through draft, which was something we were all shocked about. You know, this champion has seemed absolutely ludicrous when it does get picked up, and it just didn't even get picked here. So like the Corki is still available, right? There's all these things. And Ryoma is a player with a champion pool, right? It's not just like some TF player. This guy can literally pick everything, can play everything that's meta, and even a bunch of stuff that's not. So I do think while taking the TF away will take some power and some agency away from a player like Ryoma. I don't think it'll knock him out. There's still plenty of great picks out there, but it's definitely something I'd be looking at if I'm Immortals.
And Smats, I'm saving you for the last here before we throw it over to our casters here. Chime had a fantastic performance inside that. Trevor didn't get his Thresh, didn't have a great performance on the Lulu. If you're looking at this bot lane in a vacuum, what are you looking at? What are you looking to change up?
Ban the Blitzcrank, please. Get that out of here.
But it was so good to see.
I already said it.
The Flash.
I mean, yeah, it's good. It's good for us. It's good for Golden Guardians. It's not good for Immortals at all. You got to get rid of that champion right now, especially if Golden Guardians are going to draft more crowd control to activate the hook later too. Like, that was a filthy combination, and you just can't give them the agency again. Like, Chime might have other champions to do this with, but the Blitzcrank just seems way too easy in his hands.
Well, ladies and gents, you heard it here. We gave them some heartfelt advice here on how we can see this series go the distance. But it's time for our casters to get us ready for game number 2. It's Jolly and Beatdown. Take it on away.
Thank you so much, Travesty. Thank you, the rest of the analyst desk. We always love to hear your little breakdowns, especially when it confirms what we kind of went in with or what we assumed as well. Beatdown. I gotta echo, banning the Blitzcrank. I think also the fact that we do have Immortals, AOE having still picked the red side on this one. That means the first pick is still gonna go over to Golden Guardians Academy. We can anticipate that if that Twisted Fate makes it through the first ban phase, that's gonna be their selection. So just ensuring that at least one of those two, if not both of those champions, is on the ban list is worthwhile. They also mentioned that the Corki was still up and available. So yeah. Man, Ryoma just has such a deep pool. Like, do you even try to focus on banning this guy out? Is it worth doing the Twisted Fate ban? I guess we just saw right there. It's worth it for that one at least.
Yeah, it's tough because when you really try to pinch that pool, if you think about like the really strong mids that are going on at the moment, you think of Corki, Victor, TF is good, but for like different reasons. And the idea is when you're on red side, going that route means you should leave 2 top tiers up and just hope to handshake them. That's the thing. So what do you really end up going for here? I mean, if you leave Corki and you take TF, Corki's probably something they're just going to grab right away here. So yeah. I think probably you want to take a bit of a jab at Ryoma's champion pool if you can. But ultimately, I think it's interesting that Immortals AOE are back on the red side here. I think now they probably want to try and get a better matchup, I think, in the top side. Because I think Qualifier was the one who broke it down like really well on the desk, talking about how, well, I mean, Gragas is cool, but when you're playing it into Gwen gets to kind of just do whatever she wants, farm for free, and manage to, well, become Gwen at 3 items with little to no jungle attention. It just means it's so easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is something that we've seen particularly in the matchups for today is a lot less focus on the top side than we might have seen in the past because you have these pretty even matchups, right? If it's something where one of the players is going to be really far behind just given the matchup, then yeah, put some focus on there. But I think that they've been doing a good job of ensuring that that's just not the case. As we look across the bans, it is going to be the exact same for Golden Guardians, and there is one slight tweak for Immortals. That is going to be the Twisted Fate being added here to the bans. So Respect coming through. That also means that the Caitlyn is up and available. Golden Guardians recognize that. They're going to take that even over somebody like the Corki in the mid.
Sure, fair enough. And I mean, you do give Immortals the pick of that litter if they want to go Corki, if they want to go Victor, or maybe they'll wait a little bit. But ultimately, getting the Caitlyn for Stixxay is a pretty big deal here, just because, I mean, Caitlyn is permabanned on red side, has been since the season started, just because of how strong she is at the moment. And seeing the Jhin and Xin picked up here is good. I think Winston played pretty well in the earlier parts of the game. I do like the Jhin there for Meech as well. You do got a lot of that long range setup, and you also are going to be okay with the fact that, you know, early game is not going to be so great here. But I really like the Poppy. Oh my god.
I like the Poppy pick, yeah, and you know, not even saying, hey, we're going to counter pick you guys like you have been counter picking us for Golden Guardians. We get the lock-in as well for the Lux here, who has been, you know, in terms of Enchantresses, because she offers so much damage, right, that's an option that is absolutely, I would say, a little bit more viable, right? Lulu has to get a lot closer to be efficient and effective. You also have to kind of pick and choose, right? Do I use the Whimsy? Do I use the Polymorph? Like, do I send picks onto an enemy? me to add additional damage, or do I send picks over to my ally to shield them? So even just that, moment, that millisecond that you take to decide how you want to play things out means that it seemed like Golden Guardians is going to take advantage of that. So the Lux has been locked in here. That's going to set a lot of pressure up for Golden Guardians on the bottom side, meaning we can expect Winston is, just like in game number 1, going to put some early focus onto that. I guess the other question would be, is Iconic going to stay in the jungle as long as he did in the last one, or is he going to try to make some of these counter plays? Because we didn't really see a Viego jump into these fights until post level 6, until post full clears.
Right, well, this is a Poppy, so you definitely have way more options to have an impact in the earlier parts of the game. Poppy's definitely one of those champions. All right, level 3, I'm sprinting to lane. Who needs a gank? It's just ready to go, and I imagine that's what we're going to see more than likely for Iconic's side. I mean, the Leona for Trevor is definitely, I think, a better look than what we saw before. It will be a little tough because of, obviously, the Poppy's steadfast presence and everything like that later on, but in lane, it is kind of that situation where at least Trevor will be able to go elsewhere and try to do kind of what Chime did in game 1. As best that he can, of course. And overall, I think the Leo is going to be pretty good if you actually manage to close the gap onto Chime, manage to land a Zenith Blade, keep the stuns going through here. You might actually be able to win out on some of these skirmishes here.
I am somewhat surprised that we're seeing the Leona over the Nautilus. With Jhin, of course, Leona is super helpful, right? Because you're jumping directly on top of them. You would be doing the same thing, of course, with the Nautilus. And what we talked about earlier on, I think it was in the previous matchup, right, when we had Dawnbreak picking that one up, is when you compare these 3 of like Thresh, Leona, Nautilus that offer a lot of the same things, heavy crowd control, heavy initiation, the ability to get out of the fight is really only there for the Nautilus. So really having some sort of disengage is very helpful. And already we can see GGA, whether or not they lock in this Camille, which is probably a solid pick for them here. A lot of side lane prep, the best side laner in my opinion as of right now, thanks to the hook shot and her survivability, even if she does get caught out in these instances. This is a heavy aggro team from Golden Guardians. They're going to be looking to, early levels, potentially even making some sort of sneaky play, especially with that Poppy being in there. A little bit more of a normal composition, a normal draft that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks here, beat down for the side of Immortals. So, they at least have confidence in that. Now, I think something else to touch on that the desk brought up, I don't remember if it was Vacant or if it was Fire, but basically saying that, it didn't really quite feel like Immortals was drafting against Golden Guardians draft, right? It felt like they were doing something that they liked, that they were comfortable with, that they thought would work well, but you have to consider these counter matchups and these counter picks. And I do think that the Tom Kench is going to help them as well. Considering the fact that you've got Ryoma with that ultimate, right? The ability to just have some sort of positioning, the Abyssal Dive will be helpful for Immortals, but, how much can that be offered given the fact that we've just seen islands in the top lane?
So it's interesting too, especially because the top lane matchup, I don't think that really is very favorable for Anime Girl, but ultimately what you're doing here is, again, you're giving him a safer pick, just even if you fall a little bit behind, it's okay. You're going to be really tanky. You're going to be a front line for people like Shochi, Meech, who are going to be doing a lot more of the damage later on here. But it is tough because Tony Top, like you said, of all the top laners that were kind of left in the pool, Camille is definitely the best in the split push at the moment here. And, of course, is going to work really well in these fights, going in with Iconic, having that backline access, setting up these flanks potentially, and locking down someone like Shochi or Meech with that Hextech ultimatum here. And the Rise is definitely interesting for Ryoma as well. We don't see as much of him early on, but when you consider the mid laners that are left, it is nice because you will get early push into somebody like the Victor, and it will make for more plays post 6 where you can shove, make the roam more play, or even beforehand, you could potentially roam, make a play with Iconic on either side of the map. Bot lane is definitely looking real nice just because you already have that Kate Lux going for you.
You do. We don't see a lot of Caitlyn. Caitlyn has kind of been classic first ban for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
She's so powerful right now. And when you combine her with someone who is able to make a little bit of an impact on the crowd control, I would say, Thresh is definitely one of those that's up there because you can play them back onto something like the traps. But hey, you get a lockdown with the Lux, you just throw a trap behind them, and their ability to escape from a fight is almost non-existent. Of course, they do have, some decent range. You got the Deadly Flourish to try to get some lockdowns. The other side from Meech, you do have Trevor, of course, once they hit a couple levels. Once they get like a full item, they're going to really be able to face check a lot of these opportunities, really. But at that point, is it too far in the game, right? We've seen such early roam. We've seen so many plays to where the teams kind of realize, okay, The laning phase has ended way earlier than we anticipated. Let's all move mid. Let's all move to fight near the dragon. And if you don't actually have an item to defend yourself as that Leona, you're kind of throwing yourself into what could be your own demise, especially given how much dang damage is on the side of Golden Guardians here.
So these early skirmishes are what I'm going to be looking towards. I mean, we know Immortals, they like to play for those. They like to go for some of these early fights. And Winston, especially as a jungler, is someone who tries to play for his laners from very early on here. So it's going to be about finding some of these early angles to get some gold onto people like Meech. I think we're going to see that the top-bottom clear from both of these junglers just because of how important this bot lane is to play out. If you put Caitlyn as that kind of champion where she's really strong, the range is very oppressive, especially in the laning phase, yes. But with this double range bot lane, if you do find a good gank, if you do set this Caitlyn behind and manage to put her out of the game, that's a really good start here for Immortals. And because they still have a lot of playmaking there with the Jhin ultimate, that curtain call, you have Leona here for Trevor. You do have a lot of ways if you can get out of this laning phase to actually fight and set up around objectives here. So that's kind of what I'm looking for on Immortals AoE side. Try and focus this bot lane, if not to get your bot lane ahead, at the very least to keep them in the game and deny the turret place there from Stixxay on this Caitlyn. And then you can use that to try and get some of these early dragons. Play for that soul this time around because that didn't really work out in game 1.
Yeah, and you would expect Golden Guardians here has the priority in this lane, right? They're gonna have the pressure onto the side of Immortals. That gives Winston lots of opportunities. If they continue to push forward, if there's not enough vision placed down on that lower side of the river there around the dragon, then yeah, it could be a nice gank straight for Winston, and then immediately transition that into the dragon as we do head into game number 2 here. Golden Guardians Academy on the blue side once again, Immortals AoE on the red side again, and of course this is Immortals kind of with their backs against the wall. We're looking at match point here for GGA.
Alrighty, the multi-mine play for some vision on the bottom side of the map has begun. And actually, I say it like it hasn't actually stopped. Trevor has to walk away now. Nope, nothing's going to happen. Okay, so again, early game. Super important here for both of these teams. Interestingly enough, I'm most interested in what the junglers are going to do here. It actually could look like that we're going to get both of them start on the bottom side of the map. Let these bot lanes play out in isolation. See what they can do elsewhere. That or Winston is going to level 2 gank bot.
Right, that's still an opportunity. And we've seen how aggressive Winston wants to be right from the beginning. I do think it was a nice pickup here to see Xin Zhao's locked in. All right, iconic. Hey, it was a really quick response. It was really quick saying, okay, Rise, we're locking in Poppy, that was something Golden Guardians, I think, expected, having the Xin Zhao picked up by Winston previously, and it was really, really well played. We saw 4-0-2 before that champion even died the first time. Of course, we immediately saw 3 more deaths come through before another assist or kill worked out for Winston. So, I think the thing is, hopefully these kills, instead of going over to Winston in the early parts of the game, if Immortals does decide to make some early ganks, some early navigations into these side lanes to say, okay, I'm Winston, I'm still the jungle. We heard it from Bacon, who is a jungle player, that jungle's not that strong right now. It's not the jungle itself, it's the ability to set things up for your laners. And when all the kills go over to that jungle and they're not able to really follow that up into the second half of the game, you end up giving a lot of opportunities over to Golden Guardians, and they're going to take every single one they're offered.
Alrighty, we do have a lot of trading going into the mid lane. It's actually, I was wrong. It looks like both junglers are going for opposite starts here. Iconic is playing for the bottom lane. He's full clearing top and will find his way probably there after clearing some camps on the red side here. But, I mean, this is kind of how we expected this bot lane to play out here. So I was wondering if Winston was going to defend. I mean, he's going to clear up to the top side. You could gank Tony top if you really wanted to, but showing on the map, I think, is going to be a little unfortunate, especially if they manage to set up the dive onto Meech and Trevor here. But for the moment, not a whole lot is going to occur, really. Ryoma actually forced out of lane and is going to be forced to blow that TP.
And it looks like there was a ward placed up there by GGA in the top side of the river. However, it does not appear to be in a bush of any sort, so it's going to go down a little bit earlier. It's not in the tri-bush, so there's still the opportunity there, if Winston does decide, hey, that tri-bush still, is not going to have any vision in it. But I do agree with you, Beatdown. It's got to be more focused towards the bottom side, especially when you're going to have Chime and Stixxay pushing forward for so long. That's so much damage. Oh my gosh,
Wow.
the flash away from Trevor. A big headshot from Stixxay, and that might be an opportunity. Now Iconic recognizes, hey, I might be able to move up and stop these recalls from coming through. Looks like in the mid lane, we are getting a jump on, and it's going to be the first blood actually picked up by Winston, who flashes in on that Iconic. Now 1v1ing Meech, Chime, Stixxay, working on navigating back behind this tower. Meech just has to flash away, but it is a summoner spell down here for the bottom lane on Immortals.
Not only that, turret plates going over to Stixxay, exactly how you want the spot lane to be playing out here. No flash on Meech means that Cleanse is really his only safety in this bottom lane, and Iconic could very well show himself back on this bottom side of the map again and just make yet another play. Already the spot lane going well for Golden Guardians Academy here, and all the spot pressure means after this reset, you got to imagine they're going to have a lot of priority over this first dragon here. It is a big deal, though, as well, that we're going to see a replay of this mid play. Shochi pretty much pressuring Ryoma, putting him in a little awkward position, but after the trading comes through and all the minion damage comes through, because there's a lot of caster minions there, Ryoma gets stunned up. Yeah.
It's the lockdown, the flash forward too by Winston. That was a good one. Yeah, thank you production for that picture-in-picture. Always nice. Tony Top is going to hook shot away from this Anime Girl. I think just a little preemptively using the Abyssal Dive on that one. Winston has been revealed. There is still that ward in the river though. So Tony Top setting himself up to be able to pressure this lane without being in too dangerous of a position. More wasted time by Winston.
Yeah, and I like this from Trevor. He's out of lane. He's trying to see if he can have an impact here. He has the Hex Flash. Ryoma has no flash.
Hex Flash, but Chime is right there as well. The Zenith Blade is gonna miss. Everything not quite hitting right there. Hey, except for the Lux able to get a pop off and has the Comet on top of it. We got a lot of mobility though. Phase Rush coming in from Iconic and Ryoma here. So man, they are just trying to set up for late game as quickly as possible. We're only 5.5 minutes in, right? But the plays are coming through so heavily. The pressure is in favor of Golden Guardians. The majority of creep score is in favor of Golden Guardians, and especially just look at Stixxay down here with Meech. Poor Meech. It's 45-26.
Oh, there it is. The cleanse I was talking about out of the picture. Iconic is actually on this bottom side of the map, and there's already the pings for assistance. They want to make this play happen, Jolly. Iconic could easily flash E if he wants to. And look at the respect Meech and Trevor have to play. The CS lead, you already talked about it, is really starting to grow. And now Meech is at a point where he's losing out on XP as well, just because of the fact that he knows Jungler has to be nearby, and they're waiting for Winston to show up and apply at least some sort of pressure to cover them here. But it's tough. Even in this situation, I'm not really sure there's a play.
There's the initiation right there.
Oh,
Stixxay is going to throw himself back with the 50 caliber net. It's a pickup by Stixxay. Meech now on the run. It is going to be Iconic here in the bush. Going to be able to jump onto Winston, add a bunch of damage, not take any in response. A little bit of a slow on top of it from Chime. Just very well done from Golden Guardians.
Yeah, Trevor, I'm sorry, buddy. That engage was not it. You end up falling, and you basically set it up so that you don't get this Drake now. Golden Guardians Academy will be the ones to get it for themselves there, and the pressure has just been unreal in the bottom lane. Look at how much Meech has had to suffer. He's down 30 CS. I'm too scared to ask for the XP to come through here. But at this moment, Ryoma, what are we doing?
Looking for something potentially. Stixxay and Chime are right there. It's going to be the Zenith Blade that goes on to Ryoma. Takes way too much damage.
Oh my
He's
god,
gonna be able
he
to get
lives.
out of that.
Phase Rush is
50
good.
caliber net. Winston decides to go in, though. No flash up and available, so he's going to be taking a lot of damage from the autos here. The last one he's going to do it. Chime tries to flash forward to get the lockdown onto Shochi. The slow does apply, but that's all that's needed to get Immortals AOE away from this objective and find more pressure on the bottom lane. Woo!
It just, look at that. Meech has to recall again. Look at this Jolly. He's out of lane. Stixxay is going to get really close to level 6. He's just going to continue farming out. You know what, Jolly? I was scared to do this, but I'm going to do it. Observers, could we please see the gold?
Yeah,
You could just go ahead and toggle it. I got to know. Is that it? Oh, my God.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. 1,600 gold already, and we're at before minute 8.
Chime is number 4 in that, and that just goes to show that, hey, when you're talking about enchantresses, right? I mean, Lux is, I think, falls under the sorceress, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say he's more of a mage, you know.
Yeah, not quite an enchantress thanks to all of the damage that she's going to be able to offer. Ryoma, of course, just barely gets ahead of that, but you're looking at Winston and Shochi in 2nd and 3rd place, so there's a little bit of saving grace there for Immortals. Of course, the 2 kills have gone over to Winston, and this is exactly what I was touching on like 5 minutes ago here. Beatdown is how much is it Winston able to offer towards the later half of the game, no matter how fed he is? We already saw it as we take a look at the second replay.
And again, the desync for IMT is a little evident here, and how you see Trevor go in. The follow-up was just a little late. Stixxay and Chime, on the other hand, they're just right on the clock here, Jolly. The damage is coming through. Shochi's flash is forced out, and even though you do manage to take down Ryoma, it's still a very positive play on GGA's side. Like, they're still very much control over the game. Immortals will be able to get the Rift Herald, so that is a way to get a lot of plate gold back into their pockets here. It's just going to be about where they're actually going to be able to drop it here. Bot lane, it's going to be tough. If Iconic's in the area, you're not in a position to win that 2v3. Stixxay is fed out of his mind at the moment here, so you might have to look other places. Shochi is still in the game, in a good enough position where if you give him a lot of plate gold, he can be a big damage dealer later on.
Pre-9-minute Gale Force, okay? I just gotta point that out.
I don't want to know that. Don't do it.
9-minute Gale Force, 9.5-minute first tower of the game. All of those plates going over to Stixxay here. One more hit on this tower is all that's needed. Stixxay okay with taking that one turret because picks up every single minion, and we're looking at almost 100, easily over double what Meech has been able to pick up, who just has Swifties and 2 longswords. Ouch.
Man, that's just, yeah. Yeah, and then look at this. This is what happens. You take all the plates bot. Well, okay, Caitlyn, come up to the top side. We got more plates for you. Hope you're hungry, because that's just going to be more gold here. Mythic, far before everyone else. Tier 2 boots to boot, which is just brutal.
Oh my gosh, the tier 2 boots picked up there too. Didn't even have boots. That was full boots. Iconic going in there with the ultimate. It's going to be Ryoma now. Just has to hit one more shot. Doesn't quite take enough to end up going down here. Does have to be careful, though, because Winston is in the wings. But, I mean, Winston's being proxied away right here by Chime, who's been doing such a good job. It's Chime time is right. Now, Anime Girl
canceled auto.
Gets 3 tongue lashes there on to Stixxay. Going to be able to throw back. A flash away there is going to at least allow him to avoid
dodge one more.
One part of this, the curtain call does come through. He's going to take the final shot using the 50 caliber net at the last second, but not quite quick enough. Meech finally picks one up for himself.
I think that's a really big punish there, because one, Meech desperately needed that gold into his pocket, Jolly. The other thing, too, is the fact is you see that mid lane plane come through. Ryoma, Iconic taken down to very low HP bars, meaning what they would have originally wanted to do, which is transition top to give Stixxay the space to pick up more turret plays. Instead, Stixxay is a little too pushed up, and there's an opportunity for Immortals to shut down this Caitlyn. So you could there's still time for these plates to come through. Golden Guardians could easily just give up that next dragon and put all their members, or most of them rather, on this top side of the map, so Stixxay can continue to farm these plates. I mean, let's be real. It's one shutdown is good, but the lead is still immense for Golden Guardian Academy's bot lane. Basically, the entire lead they have is on those members, specifically Stixxay.
Almost 3,000 gold right now in favor of Golden Guardians Academy at less than 12 minutes in. That's actually a massive amount in favor of a team. Of course, we just saw the gold differential right there. Iconic looking for something. Chime is in the back. It's gonna be
nice
the solar flare that comes out, followed by the final spark. Ryoma will be the first to go down. Crescent sweep coming out here from Winston, who's going to take one tower shot. Chime not able to get there in time. Stixxay is still available there. Winston's going to be able to get out no problem, though. Immortals find themselves a 1-0.
Yeah, ends up being another nice punish coming through from Immortals AOE, because making that play topside probably isn't an option anymore. Instead, Golden Guardians, they're going to just opt for the dragon for themselves here. So they do lose the opportunity to accelerate Stixxay further, at least for the moment, but ultimately still a big lead for Golden Guardians Academy. Still a play to be made potentially mid, especially because now Winston, he's had that Herald for a couple of minutes now, Jolly. You can see it. It's actually about to expire very soon. He's at a point where maybe he'll be able to drop that mid. He might want to drop the top just because he could make a play onto Ryoma, who has been the focus of Immortals AOE, specifically Winston. But he's got to decide soon.
He really does. It's getting down to it. I hate to watch that tick so close to, the line hitting the line right there.
If Chime hits him with anything, it's over.
Looking for something. It is going to be the Realm Warp that comes through here from Ryoma. Try to set up for the W. Isn't able to pick that one up. It does get a lockdown. The final spark to follow it up. Ryoma finds the one. Winston separated from the rest of the team. The curtain call comes out on the backside. Winston does a lot of damage to Iconic right here. That might spell the death of Iconic, and it will. Winston's going to be able to pick that one up. Oh my goodness. Almost getting the double kill. Thank goodness for Ryoma on the backside. Meech takes a lot in response, but at least was able to assist there. help Winston take down one before losing his own life.
Man, that's a big deal. Immortals never got the opportunity to use the Rift Herald. It's gone, expired. Winston didn't get to drop it. And, I mean, that's a lot of potential gold that is just out of the picture now. I mean, realistically, they didn't seem to have many places they could have made it work. It's still just unfortunate for Immortals, who are behind now, trying to find their way back into this game here. Yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, I was saying, hopefully somebody hits Winston, just put that 4-second timer on the Eye of the Rift Herald, and you can see it expire right at that moment here. Winston doing his best, his damnedest, with Meech in the background, does manage to go 1 for 1.
Almost
2 for
manages
1.
to take down Chime here. Yeah, that's why I say thank goodness for Ryoma. If you are Chime, right? Just walk away from that one. That's all you can do. Still a very squishy member. And Iconic is going to be the one that's frontlining a good majority of these fights, along with Tony Top, trying to lock people down with that Hextech Ultimatum, which we have not seen come out quite yet. In fact, I mean, there have been several ultimates that we haven't even seen come into play, just based on the fact that, hey, they're able to deal enough damage with their abilities.
Right, and Tony Thompson's been on split push duty all game here, just shoving whatever wave where they don't want to have the focus for Golden Guardians Academy. I mean, mid is where it's all about Stixxay and Chime. They have Ryoma on the top side. They look like they want to play for that Herald, and Tony Top's like, all right, cool, I'm just going to happily farm out on this bottom side. He actually is a little behind compared to Anime Girl, but ultimately, especially with that Divine Sunderer, he's going to be a problem in these 5v5s. You find that angle, you jump on someone like Shochi or Meech, they are going to disappear.
There, we can see the XP pulled up here. Shochi is in the lead. As far as Stixxay has pushed forward, it is still a lane where you are splitting experience with your support here. Still so far ahead in terms of creep score. Tony Top gonna deal a considerable amount of damage here to Anime Girl, who's just trying to defend this bottom lane. Oh my gosh, Stixxay going forward with the Gale Force, doing a lot over to Trevor. That means that the curtain call is gonna come out. Stixxay will be the target for that one. The Solar Flare occurring on the backside. Crescent Sweep as well. In the meantime, Ryoma is dealing a lot of damage, and in comes Tony Top. That's gonna be Stixxay that picks up one. Ryoma picks up the other. The teleport comes through, and instantly Anime Girl regrets making that move.
Yeah, ultimately, he's way too late to be able to help his team here. And honestly, that seemed like it looked good for AOE or Immortals for a little while, but it doesn't end up panning out. It's just more gold in their pockets here. They're continuing to grow this lead. And as much as Anime Girl is trying, actually, he's going to pop Ghost. Maybe he will get him. Never mind, Tony Top
right there, right? The hook shot. Yeah. Tony Top's like, you don't need me. That's fine. Still, no Hextech Ultimatum has been needed here. Now Anime Girl doesn't have either summoner spell. He's currently up against Ryoma in the top.
And luckily for him, Ryoma is backing off.
Ooh.
But man, you are in a that
rough.
sucks. That's a tilter. You're kind of in the blender right now. If you're Immortals AOE, backs against the wall. You've already lost game 1 to Golden Guardians Academy, and none of these fights seem like they are going your way here. It starts off with that final spark, but the thing I'm most interested in is the fact that, see Ryoma, he's a possible target here for the turn, and they actually do a pretty good job of trying to focus him, but it's Iconic who bails out his mid laner there at the cost of his own life, and it buys time for the teleport to come through. It buys time for Stixxay to stop chasing Trevor and end up joining the fight here. And you can just tell, like, the difference in gold really shows in how these fights play out, because anyone Stixxay has their eyes on just end up disappearing.
Nice little crescent sweep. At least to avoid the final spark, but that's not where most of this damage is coming through. It's a target onto Iconic.
Oh, hello.
But Tony Top is going to hook shot in.
There it is.
Ultimatum to come out to avoid the Solar Flare. It is so much damage. Tony Top now just leading these members of Immortals AOE on the run. Ace in the hole comes through. It's not enough damage, but Ryoma is able to pop just a single auto off, and that will be enough. Now Tony Top, there's going to be the root from Ryoma on top of that, and oh my goodness, that is just tragic for Immortals.
Just great if you're Golden Guardians Academy. Just continuing to solidify their lead. They're going to get Soul Point yet again, uncontested by Immortals AOE. And man, this bot lane play from Stixxay has been insane. Ryoma, who was, I think, 0-3, is now 6-3, Jolly. Now he's gotten it together. That Fimbulwinter, which will be done after one more ability used, means he's going to have a lot more HP. Be able to just be a little more beefier in some of these team fights, and it's just I don't know. Immortals not looking so immortal.
Oh, that's rough. You compare the two full items, right? You also have the Null Magic Mantle. You got the finished boots, and then you look across the board. Even though it is
actually,
Shochi, that's ahead. You got an item and a half here. Not the best place to be. Of course, we do have 2 fully finished items. The Dom's coming through from Stixxay as well, and all you've got on the other side is going to be that crit cloak, along with that other one longsword. So, man, Immortals are really feeling it, and they're trying to set themselves up into some of these bountiful positions, but it still is Golden Guardians that just reacts far quicker. Right there, the ace in the hole is going to do it. It's going to be enough. Iconic and Chime, in the meantime, on the other side, force out the Crescent Sweep from Winston. Still a lot of damage coming through here. Trevor on the back line is not able to assist at all. Tony Top tries to poke a little bit of damage there, recognizes Meech is in the wings. Hey, you get what you can. It's still a successful fight for GGA. Oh my gosh.
This is so brutal, too. You know what really sucks, too, for Immortals? This sole point they're going to have to play for in a couple minutes is going to be so hard. Because, like, even if you manage to get there first, even if you manage to attempt the start of a 50-50, Charlie, you know what's going to happen. Iconic has that Keeper's Verdict, which is just so obnoxious for winning 50-50s because they're no longer 50-50s. So, yeah, that's a lot of gold, too.
I mean, it's not looking great for Immortals AOE. You already just said it. Their backs are against the wall, right? They're already facing match point for Golden Guardians Academy going into this one. And we're looking at, less than 20 minutes into this game. 4 towers already taken down by Golden Guardians. They're ahead now by 7,000 gold at 20 minutes. That is also massive. We also consider the last game ended at 25, right? So all it took was Golden Guardians to have one really big play that turned things in their favor heavily. But the game has already kind of been... that's been the case this entire game right now. I see Immortals, they're trying to go for some of these objectives. They're trying to play around where some of these team fights are expected and anticipated. But man, again, Golden Guardians' response time and reaction to some pinches or some advantageous fights that Immortals think they have, that's just never the case.
Now Golden Guardians just continuing to push their advantages, taking all these outer turrets. So they had 4, Jolly, where they're working on number 5. Make that number 6. As in 20 minutes, no outer towers remain for Immortals AOE. Okay, yeah, they get an objective bounty. That's all well and good, but they still got 7,000 gold to somehow diminish. And the jungle camps are still being taken. This is a tough one for Immortals, Trevor. He's trying to find whatever he can, but really, Immortals are at this point where they're going to have to just make a crazy play. They like to flip games at times. And if there was ever a time to do that, Jolly, it would be here and now.
It really would be. Not much of a vehement front line. I mean, Trevor doesn't have an item, dude. Trevor doesn't even have an item. So as this frontliner is supposed to be absorbing all this damage, it's really difficult. We see right there, Meech gets jumped on here by Stixxay. Gonna have to flash over the wall, is locked down. Trevor should be able to pick this one up. It's Shochi that actually gets the kill. That means that Meech is in a pretty vulnerable spot. Solar Flare coming out on the backside. A beautiful final spark as well. Forces a flash out of Shochi. Trevor low, Meech low. Anime Girl comes in just in time to provide a little bit, but it's not enough. Meech likely gonna go down right here. Can he escape from this? You see the Teemo thumbs up. Ryoma knows he's faster than Jin at the moment. No flash available anymore. And man, Golden Guardians lose 1 member in that fight. Of course, it's Stixxay, so that's a big deal.
As big a deal as
hey,
plays Immortals can be at this moment. Yeah, you're right.
We're gonna give them as much as possible here.
You're right. You can see it, Winston. Like, no matter what is going on, you can't say this man doesn't try. He's looking for the angle. The problem is, well, there was no angle to be found, Jolly. I mean, yeah, sure, you get Stixxay. That's all well and good. A nice shutdown in Shochi's pocket. 1 for 4.
Yeah, not a win in the overall, that's for sure, right? You can't even try to consider it that way. And then the chase down onto Meech is unfortunate. Ryoma, I love that. The flash. And then the little emote here saying, ha, I got you. You can try to run away, but you're not going to be fast enough. He absolutely knows, and that's just going to pad Ryoma's stats even more. 700 gold bounty, sitting at 7, 3, and 7.
Yeah, also Mountain Soul is up and available for Golden Guardians Academy. I mean, they can take this whenever they please. Immortals, well, we're going to see. Maybe Iconic will do the thing where a 50-50 no longer is a 50-50.
Definitely seeming like it. And not only, like, Golden, we haven't even touched on the fact that they've got one of the best side laners since draft, right? Because that has been the case. We've seen so much coming out of Tony Top. Ryoma looking for something. The Solar Flare coming out on the backside. Iconic, doing a lot of damage
Look
here.
at the
Trevor, final
lineup.
Spark applies so much as well. That's 3 members that it hits. The Crescent Sweep comes out once again in a defensive manner. Very unfortunate if you're Winston. And hey, look at that Hextech Ultimatum comes out. So much damage on a Tony Top, though. You know you're solo in that instance, right? Not even able to pick up a single kill.
Okay.
The curtain call. Now in response, this is a great play from AOE, from Immortals. That last shot is going to hit Ryoma, though. That means Stixxay finds it another one. Stixxay is at 100% health right here. Is going to be able to use the Gale Force to follow this one up. Doesn't hit the Q, but that's totally okay. So much damage now to come out.
Oh,
of
this could be
Joshi.
Stixxay's
A
penta.
couple of picks up.
It's
That's
Stixxay's penta.
That is the Quadra. The penta kill picked up. No way by Stixxay. Give us 2 here. And that might be the end of the game. Golden Guardians Academy set themselves up for such a big fight. And oh my god, there's a reason this man was pro. There's a reason he is likely going to go back.
Oh my god, what a fight coming from Golden Guardians Academy. They aren't going to take more than that inhibitor, but it feels like they've gotten everything, Jolly. Immortals AOE just falling to pieces. And this was a long fight when you think about it, too. It started all the way here at this soul, where you get a lot of damage coming through from both sides here. But, I mean, ultimately, they just got very, very slowly walked down like very geriatric dogs. They're walking. They're getting there. Tony Top.
The flash, too.
Well,
I didn't even see the flash by Tony Top.
yeah, that was ambitious. You give Meech a lot of gold, but I mean, you see what's going to happen here. They're going to get slowly picked apart by Ryoma. They're getting there. You know, he went almost full tank, so give him a second.
Yep.
And
all
well,
it takes.
yeah, it's all it takes. Stixxay
And
starts
then
popping off.
Stixxay had the red buff on that the whole time. I mean, Stixxay was sitting pretty at 100% health.
Sure was.
Was kind of far behind to pick up on that, especially given the fact that the Solar Flare was applied to both Stixxay and Chime in the backside, and that's going to be yet another final spark that comes through the ace in the hole on top of it. Tony Top picks up the 1. They're going to lock down Animate Girl here, at least for a little bit. Is able to get out of the Hextech Ultimatum. It's going to be Winston on the backside, splitting apart this fight. Meech will be the target here for Ryoma. Still has a lot of health, moving over to
bubble
Shoji.
buffs.
But Winston is in. They're going to follow this one up. Stays alive for so dang long, and now it is Stixxay, it is Chime looking for something here. The Abyssal Dive does come through, but man, Stixxay just does so much dang damage. Even with Winston on the run here, Animated
You're
Girl
joking.
will likely go down. Even grabbing all of that health, Stixxay just needs to move a step forward, but it's going to be Chime. Already has the final spark up. I'm pretty sure that was 2 times just in this fight. Stixxay has such long range. 1 shot onto Winston here will be enough to do it. Can the pinch come through? No, it's going to be abandoned, and Winston barely gets out with his life.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
Chime, though.
Chime, I would like to speak.
Chime. Oh,
Wow.
okay, just to pick up
He
the
got
kill
it.
this time. He got it. He was looking for the pinch. Stixxay very clearly said, nah, I'm done with this one. But, hey, Winston goes down. That's another gray screen. And it's the jungle.
Yeah.
Worth it for Golden Guardians. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, couldn't agree more. I mean, the curtain call is nice, but iconic. This point is pretty tanky, and a lot of the shots were missed. Look at who's here, Ryoma. So, sorry, buddy, these curtains are closed as he forces Meech away.
Now, Stixxay, 13, 2, and 5.
It's a lot of kills.
That is a lot of kills. That's, you know, several assists on top of it. So much gold. Ryoma has participated so heavily in all of these fights as well. And hey, we're over the 25-minute mark, all right? At least Immortals has staunched the bleeding a little bit. It's not as bad as feeling a 25-minute loss, but the longer and longer this game goes on, we're getting closer and closer to a 10K gold lead here for Golden Guardians Academy. And man, you know, I don't want to say all is lost, but it's really feeling that way. Even when these fights start out in Immortals' favor, Golden Guardians are able to turn them around thanks to the survivability they have within both Ryoma and Iconic.
Well, as Covey always says, it's not over till the fat lady sings, but she's taking a big, deep breath right now, Jolly, as Immortals lose yet another player. It's probably going to be 2. This could be the end.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Warming up her voice for sure. And we see the Baron buff still has another 2 minutes left on it. The first inhibitor has been exposed, at least in the mid side. Trevor's going to go in. That should be Chime, who goes down here to the Chaos Storm. A lot of damage on Amish, though, who flashes and immediately gets taken down in response. Trevor, the next one to fall. And now they're just going beyond this bottom lane tower to try to take down the final surviving member, Shochi, who manages to stay alive thanks to Flash. But that's another 10 seconds before Winston, who's the next member, will be up 20 for Animate Girl to follow that one. Golden Guardians Academy looking to end the game. Shochi try to get in there to do something, but you're going to get the hook shot. You're gonna get the Hextech ultimatum. Shochi goes down to Iconic. They don't even have to focus these towers. This is absolutely the end of not just the game, but of the tournament for Immortals AOE. And just like the majority of the casting desks anticipated, it's going to be Golden Guardians Academy facing off against 100 Thieves next in tomorrow's games. Try to pad the stats right there is Ryoma, who's not going to be able to do that. I think the remaining members right here need to make the end happen. They're not going to do it. They try to pad the stats. They still have the Baron buff. Tony Top says, hey, I should have enough damage potentially. Flashes away right there from the W coming out. Winston goes in with the Crescent Sweep. The game's not over, Beatdown? What?
Yeah, apparently not. Game is not over. Oh my god, that ace in the hole does half of Meech's health. I mean, the game, any second now, you know, that's 4 cannon minions, 5 cannon minions.
Ooh, it's Stixxay who gets jumped on. The Solar Flare comes out. I mean, sure, it's cannon minions, but it's 5 members of Immortals. Did they just allowed Immortals to save the game right here? Sure, that might not turn a lot in their favor. They're still down by 9,000 gold, but that absolutely should have been the end, and Golden Guardians Academy decided not to hit the Nexus.
I mean, this is a big deal. Elder Dragon is up right now. I mean, Chime's doing a pretty good job at just kind of like buying time. He's full health, 2.5 items on this Lux. Does mean that a lot of damage is going to be able to come through. He has Flash, has Ignite, and is going to be able to run enough interference, I think, for his team to come back here. The teleport, though, does make it a little mixy here. This is Immortals' pretty much last chance, Jolly, to keep the series alive.
Hey, they made it happen. This year, it's still going, right? That's a big deal.
No
Chime's
smite?
able to pick up Winston.
Oh, okay.
It is a grab, though, of course, from Meech. Winston went down just a little bit too early here. The Realm Warp from Ryoma, though, and all is absolutely not lost for Golden Guardians. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. All is lost for Immortals. Trevor, you're not going to be able to stall out Ryoma. You are still just a lowly Leona. One more auto is all it's going to take to do it. And Golden Guardians, hey, they're probably not going to make that mistake again, but they managed to sweep out Immortals AOE this time, taking over 30 minutes still. A pretty decisive win here for Golden Guardians, and they find themselves now preparing for tomorrow for the grand finals up against 100 Thieves next.
Yeah, it's not how it's not how I thought the game would end. It was definitely more of a whimper than a bang, but Jolly, I'm done. Throw it to the Annas, please.
Right? That game was a bang. All right, Beatdown. That game was a bang. We had some amazing plays from both teams, right? I really did like the composition that Immortals had to offer this game compared to the last. But once again, we saw kind of a replay of game number 1. Winston picked up all of the early kills and just was not able to lead that into the later half of the game. And man, Stixxay, right? You don't give Stixxay somebody like Caitlyn. We already saw what could be done with some range on somebody like Jinx. Just not an offering that you want to serve up to this team of Golden Guardians. And they won once again on the blue side here. So that is going to do it for us, Beatdown. Of course, we do have some interviews coming up after this. We do have the analyst desk going to break down some of those plays, review some of these things. So, of course, don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back with more of a breakdown here between, man, two such good teams, Golden Guardians Academy and Immortals AOE.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Unified Proving Grounds Circuit Qualifier. We have our grand finals here. This is exciting. We have the run back of Golden Guardians Academy taking on 100 Thieves all the way here at the end. Smats, you've been around with me for this entire ride here over on the Academy channel. How are you feeling seeing these two matchups square up against each other for the first time since the qualifying part of it?
It's going to be a great final tomorrow. It's a best of 5 as well. The last time these two teams played against each other was best of 1, so it's going to be a lot more action. And yeah, 100 Thieves next did end up winning that best of 1 in the open qualifiers, but Golden Guardians looked completely on another level. The practice, the hours that this team has been putting in over this tournament, Academy, and LCS lock-in, It's really showing wonders, and I really do think that this team is looking a lot better. Now, this game was definitely more fun than the other ones that we've seen. A little bit less calculated, at least in the later stages. But you know, they deserve it for sure.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of fun on the desk when we were going back to it. I think we can all have a vouch for that one. As we had everything that game could have, a bit of chaos, a little sprinkle of everything nice, a pentakill as well. So, I mean, this game series had everything, and we got the draft up here. I want to ask, first off, starting with you, Backen, who are you looking at here? Are you looking at anything in specific that sticks out to you in this draft?
Well, from a draft perspective, it kind of feels similar to the previous draft, funnily enough, where Golden Guardians had their plan set out from the get-go. We're going to take away some of these characters. We're going to leave open these, what I guess in their opinion, they felt were bait power picks, right? Because if you force like onto a scaling mid matchup, they just feel more than comfortable forcing on your bot lane, gaining a lead, and then ending the game before the victor ever gets online. In this game, it didn't fully end up playing that way because they ended up throwing a little bit, and Chochi almost popped off. But the same game plan was there from the get-go. And from Immortals' side, it felt very reminiscent of the last draft where like they picked Leona after Kate Lux was already picked, which felt really weird. They kind of just like handshook a losing matchup, and that was the only major lead that mattered that Golden Guardians got. So again, it fell back to last draft where it feels like Immortals was kind of drafting their own team, didn't look at really the enemy picks a lot, and then Golden Guardians got away with their game plan all over again.
Fire. You agree with this assessment? Is this exactly how everything played out for you?
Yeah, I think I do think this draft was the story of off-theme picks. You know, having the Leona with this comp with the Victor, the Xin Zhao, the Jin that, you know, are these champions that really want to make space. There was multiple times in every fight where we were like, oh, yep, Leona's going to go in and she's going to die, right? Because she's diving into this Kate Lux. On the flip side, though, we did also have the Poppy, which I was championing for at the beginning. I was like, oh, I think this pick is good. Vacant was telling me not so much. And I think I got to be with Vacant now. The champion did look pretty rough in a lot of those fights. It would just go in and die. I thought it was really funny in some of those final fights how the Rise was like 10 times tankier than this poor little Poppy trying to go in for these plays, you know? So I think those are, you know, just a couple little things both these teams can look at is making sure that really all their champions fit together. But I really also just do have to give props to Ryoma for that Rise pick. You know, once the Victor had been picked and a bunch of the other popular mids were banned, we were kind of asking like, well, where do you go? And a lot of it is like personal flavor. Some people will go Zoe there, some people will go Rise, some people will go Syndra, right? But he picked the Rise, and again, even though he fell behind early, wasn't able to have like this huge impact that you would want, he still found his time, he scaled up, he made it into the game. And those are some of the scariest kinds of players, because it can feel like even if you get a lead, you don't actually think you're winning the game. It can feel like you're constantly fighting against this pressure and against this clock. And as a mid laner, if you're able to put that on the enemy team, it's a huge asset.
I believe one of the comments that we had, and I do want to revisit something that you were talking about there, is there was a comment of from EDG that was brought up in our conversation about Poppy. It's the Yumi of the jungle.
Yeah, kind of just there to facilitate, add on to the team. Doesn't really do a lot by itself. It did do a good job of denying the Leona in some plays, again making the Leona look even more out of place. But yeah, some interesting parts to both drafts. I think both teams came in with strong game plans, but definitely Golden Guardians were super honed in and executed really well.
Absolutely, and we have some replays to show how Golden Guardians was able to get themselves going inside of this. And we started off with Stixxay, a big star inside this series for sure. Yeah. And he had some phenomenal stuff just going his way.
This is the best Caitlyn game of the tournament, I'd say. I don't think it's particularly close either. And it's because of stuff like this.
Yeah, so I mean, they are just able to consistently give Stixxay the room to get a huge lead, right? I mean, here we see this Rise ult deep behind the tower, forcing Meech behind his tier 2 to base, and Stixxay is eating all the plates by himself, eating the full tower by himself, denying all these creeps. You see here, he'll actually stop hitting the tower, making sure those few extra range creeps die in the back, getting the solo local first turret gold. I was about to say like solo loco or something. I mean, which is what Stixxay could have done this game. Right when he based here, we were laughing. It was like Gale Force Berserker Greaves to Swifties and 2 longswords or something. Stixxay was super poised to just completely annihilate this game by himself. Although it's not quite how it ended up turning out, as we'll see in the next replay. Like, they didn't quite
Yeah.
execute.
Yeah, it was a very scary situation for him, as Stixxay might as well have been the villain, and the anime girl came to the rescue over to take care of Stixxay, and it was just interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I give full props to Anime Girl here. He definitely recognized this really free opportunity where Chime is just kind of letting his AD carry push up on the wave alone, right? Honestly, Anime Girl definitely turned into the main character here to salvage the game state. So super props to him to actually look proactively for this play that broke so much of Golden Guardian's tempo. This play, I believe, happens in about 10 minutes. And it then halts their tower taking for at least a solid 3 to 4 minutes, which honestly is the only thing that really made this game like not completely a open and shut case from after they took bot tower so early. So real big props to Anime Girl for finding that way to make the game feel a lot more winnable. How absolutely terrible the early game was looking for them.
Yeah, like you said, Vacant, once you break that bot tower, the game is kind of a flowchart. You just send the Caitlyn top, she pushes in again, she takes more plates, she gets a bigger lead, she breaks the tower, she bases, uses her massive gold lead to buy more items, goes mid, does the exact same thing, and Anime Girl was able to say like, nope, I'm going to put a stop to that right now. This is going to be my story. This is my anime, not yours. But, unfortunately, in the end, it wasn't enough. But it was a really, really solid play and a good heads-up play. Because Anime Girl was just sitting there basing and was like, wait a second. This could be good.
It sets up the character arc for next season.
There you go. There you go.
There was a question. There was a tweet there that apparently Anime Girl does not watch
anime. That's funny.
Anime. What? Why?
Why? I respect it. That's so meta. It's so extremely base. I respect it. I got respect for that. That's like naming yourself I don't know, like LeBron James, but you never watch basketball.
Definitely spicy.
Super based, unbelievably based.
I'm speechless. I don't have any words.
Yeah, I mean it's like naming yourself Fire, but actually like you can't breathe fire out of your mouth. So,
yeah,
that'd be kind of weird.
Exactly.
Oh,
Obviously, you can do that though.
Calling him out, yeah.
No, he can do it. See, watch.
Oh.
Do it.
Oh. We can't show it on here.
It's
not safe.
understand.
It's like considered not safe, like.
Yeah. It messes with the equipment and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. All this high tech equipment I got here.
Another time.
Yeah.
Another time.
Yeah.
But something that we have the time for right now, Smats, is a pentakill. Our second one here inside of the qualifier. And Smats, this was a thing of beauty.
Yeah, so Stixxay may not have had the smoothest of mid-game transitions with all of the turrets that he was not able to take, but the pentakill is on his resume here, and it's a good way to sort of close the book on this tournament, because eventually, Stixxay is going to get subbed out for Violet, but at the end of the day, I think we'll all remember Stixxay's performance in this tournament and how he really stepped up to make sure that his team is able to progress through this tournament and get all the reps in that they need. And at the end of the day, that's what being a coach is all about. You got to teach these youngins how it's done. Got to smurf on some kids, getting these pentakills on the Caitlyn from Arcane. And I'm personally proud of Stixxay. He really stepped it up. And big ups to him. There it is, pentakill. He gets the dabbing penguin.
With the dabbing penguin, you love to see it.
Huge.
I just like the narrative that if anybody ever gets out of line on the team now, as him as the coach, he can just turn around and be like, remember I carried you guys with that pentakill, Semifinals, took you to the finals. Remember that? That was me.
It's a coach gap.
And the coach just comes up and slaps a pentakill in front of you. I think you just listen.
Yeah.
But going into this, I want to get your guys' thoughts. A little bit of a preview, if you will, because tomorrow is the finals. And it's 100 Thieves next, Golden Guardians Academy. These two teams have not fought each other since the open qualifier, in which 100 Thieves Nets were the victors of it. I'm going to start with Vacant. How are you feeling going into it?
I'll definitely be honest. I think both teams today, I think these games should have been less close than they were, right? I'd say both teams had shaky faults right? They would end up either, if they got the lead early, they would drop it, or they dropped the lead initially, then had to pick it back up and regain the pace of the game. So it's definitely a little bit messy execution, even though both teams ended up with 2-0s. It's going to be rather interesting to see how they go into the finals in a BO5 aspect, where even if like they gain an early lead in the series, they might get complacent or get a little bit sloppy and end up throwing the game. So it's going to be a really, really close series. I do think from like a personal point, I think probably 100 Thieves will end up taking it. But it'll definitely be like a slaughter going back and forth. I don't think it's going to be one team definitively over the other, so just based off of today's performances alone.
And to add to that, I think their weaknesses were very similar. I think their strengths were also pretty similar and mirroring each other, because they won in the late game through big carry performances from their bottom lane. Both top laners had really solid flanks with the teleports as well. Like it's very mirrored execution in these games, with the weaknesses at the same time where they were falling behind in early game. We made a joke in the middle of that fourth game where we kind of just watched 4 of the same game of League of Legends today in the semifinals.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and I think when you do have those situations, we talked about this last week as well. Qualifier, you mentioned this, where if there's 2 teams that are very similar, it just ends up who is better at executing on the day. And yeah, I'm with you, Vacant. I think 100 Thieves will probably end up being that team, but we'll have to find out tomorrow who can bounce back better.
Qualifier, you're the wholesome one, right? Everybody here is letting their bias come out. Smats is over here on the.
Am I really that biased?
He does. No, Smats doesn't have bias. I'll give him the pass on this one. He didn't have the bias moment earlier. Qualifier, I know you were on it. Stixxay got a pentakill, man. What does this man have to do to sway you?
Yeah, that he did. I mean, I think, honestly, I feel like the series tomorrow won't be close, all right? But I think both teams have a good chance of winning it, all right? Because what we saw today from 100 Thieves was them really struggling in that early game, right? They fell behind both times in the early game. I mean, for that first game, we were like, this game could just be over at like 7 or 8 minutes, right? But they were able in both those games to come back and win those late games from these huge deficits, right? Which is super impressive. And then looking at Golden Guardians Academy, they were able to get those early leads, which could threaten 100 Thieves next, right? Like we were saying, if Golden Guardians Academy can actually get those leads and hold on to them, right? They are less likely to throw in the late game stages, right? And 100 Thieves next might never get those big late game fights that they want. So I think if Golden Guardians Academy is able to control those early games, stop a couple of their throws from coming through, then I think they have a real chance at shutting 100 Thieves next out. However, I think if their early games don't go according to plan, or if 100 Thieves next is able to get into those late game scenarios where it seems like time and time again, no matter how much gold they're down, no matter how many kills, towers, whatever, they still manage to find a way back, then it's gonna be really, really tough. So we'll have to see. I'm excited to see how both of the teams prep for it. I'm excited to see if they have anything interesting up their sleeves, or if it's just gonna be more scaling. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me as well. But with that, it's done for us here tonight on the desk at the very least. We do have to say goodbye to our fantastic guest talent that we had here today. Bacon, who has some phenomenal things going on for himself. Follow him on Twitter. Make sure you check him out. He drops a dank meme or two every now and again. And unlike Anime Girl, I think he watches anime. His profile picture's from Tower of God. So I'm hoping at this point in time that he does know Tower of God.
I'm persuaded to watch anime.
You're persuaded to watch anime.
I don't go about it.
I don't know what that means.
Accord.
What does that mean?
It means my girlfriend watches anime, and I watch her with her. That's what it means.
Good job, Cindy.
Hey, good job.
Yeah, shout out to Cindy.
Shout out.
Shout out to Sydney. But Qualifier as well. Thank you as well. Make sure you follow him. Qualifier League is his @ You can make sure to check him out for all of his league adventures. He's a superstar mid laner that you can catch out on, and puts out some phenomenal stuff from time to time. And you know, every now and then he'll post some things, possibly some taunts from hats being sent to him and all this other stuff. But good times on the horizon.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here. You know, I've been an amateur for a while, so seeing like these players and things like that is always exciting for me to watch.
He's LFT for a team.
Yeah, there is that part.
LFT for a team,
if you guys need a strong mid laner, any of these teams, you know, that can do some analysis on the side, I'm here.
So free agent. One last question in Qualifier, since you opened up the door for this, are you willing to role swap?
Yes, actually, I don't want to name names. I don't want to start any fires or anything like that. But watching, especially earlier on in some of these games for this qualifier, I was like, I could probably play that role better than that guy. I think maybe I'd be better at that role than that guy. You know, we'll see
Scouting
if
the
it actually
competition.
does go anywhere. But I'm open.
So the 5 and 5 fire stands for just five fires in each row.
There you go.
With that being said, thank you so much to our guests. We are going to actually throw it over to our interview that we actually have at this current moment in time, in which we have Tony Top. Tony, how's it going, man?
Yeah, I think it's going pretty good.
I mean, yeah, after that game, and you had some fantastic flanks. Got to play the Camille inside of game number 2 and had a fantastic Gwen in game number 1. How's it feel to be able to punch your way into the finals here?
Yeah, I actually feel pretty good that I got to play like cameos, because I really like to play cameo. Then like, yeah, I've been working on my flank. I've been trying to. My flank was not looking good before, but I think it's slowly getting better. Like how I play teamfight right now.
And I have to ask, you know, Stixxay did get the pentakill. Is he loud during these pentakills, or is he just quietly getting these?
I did play loud on it. He's like, yeah, first pentakill, woohoo, with that.
That's phenomenal to hear for you. And I mean, you talked about you've been improving throughout here. You guys have 100 Thieves nets. How do you feel about going into your matchup against Sniper on the other side of the rift?
I think he's actually not bad, so it's gonna be like pretty fun match up top against him. Tomorrow.
Sweet. I love to hear that. And you guys, we had 100 Thieves nets earlier on, and they said they're convinced that it's a 3-0 in their favor. You got any words to fire back? Is it going to be a 3-0 for you guys? Did they got the score right, but on the wrong side?
I mean, I think we improve a lot. So they beat us before, but I think we improve a lot after that. So like I'm actually pretty like confident that we're gonna like we're gonna win. It's gonna be like maybe like 3-1, I would say.
3-1. So you're giving the benefit that they can maybe get one game off of you.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. Well, there's a lot of Tony Top fans out there, man. I hear a lot about people cheering on for Tony Top. What do you got to say before we end off this interview for anybody who's been along with you for the ride as you've been going throughout this wild ride?
Just thanks for the helps for all my fans. If I won.
We'll have to see, man. Hey, look, I'm cheering. See exactly what you'll be able to do. See those nasty flanks. Hopefully we get to see you on more Gwen and Camille in the future and get to see you pop off all the same. That being said, thank you so much, Tony, for the interview. We are going to go ahead and end it here. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Thank you, Tony, for coming in. And that's it here for us on the Unified Proving Ground Circuit Qualifier. We hope you all have yourselves a phenomenal evening. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to see Tony Top, the man, the myth, over here take on the side of 100 Thieves and Sniper over on the opposing side. So have yourselves a fantastic evening.